down in there. Certainly it's hard to make 3 and 4 yards of play down there, but when you're off schedule with penalties, that's certainly a problem. And then just overall better execution.
All righty, let's go next to Austin Ward, Letterman Row.
Right, I don't think that Travion has ever been physically challenged quite like he was on Saturday. And when anybody really has a night like that, 28 carries and really grinding, how does that influence maybe the workload throughout the practice following week?
Yeah, it was smart with that type of stuff, but also we saw this coming, and so for this time of year, he hasn't had an inordinate amount of carries, but certainly coming off of 28 and the amount of plays that he played, it's a lot for a running back, a young running back, but he's had a good week of preparation and he's ready to roll.
All righty, let's go next to Clay Hall, WSYS. Clay.
Ryan, Nebraska's 17th nationally total offense, 44th in defense. Is that sort of what you were pointing to when you described them as a very dangerous team?
Yeah, and I think they're 27th in scoring defense. I mean, it's a very good defense and offense, very dangerous. And when you look at, taking Michigan State all the way down to the wire, same thing with up north and then Oklahoma. I mean, those are 3 very good teams that these guys have played well. And if a couple things happen one way or the other, they win them. And now you're looking at a 6-3 team. So this is going to be a big challenge for us. We've got to play well, but this is a good football team.
All righty, we'll go next to Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
Ryan, you talked a couple of weeks ago about trying to find new ways to use Craig Young. I'm just curious what his versatility is meaning for this defense right now, and if when you're playing a more mobile quarterback like this, if that niche becomes maybe even more important.
Yeah, anytime you're playing against a quarterback like this, you have to have a good plan. You have to, make sure you're accounting for them. And, Craig has, like you said, shown versatility. He can do multiple things. He's played at linebacker level. He can cover, and he's played, at the safety level. And so anytime you have versatility like that, it gives us a lot of options, and having athletes on the field, against an athletic quarterback is important.
All righty, we'll go next to Tim May, who looks like he's on a golf course.
Yeah, I am. That's the bad news is I was double bogeyed a hole so I could get on this teleconference. But it is what it is, right, Coach Day? Hey, as you look at this offensive line, Thayer Munford basically pointed out yesterday, they've sort of rededicated themselves after last week's game. What have you seen about them, their focus, or whatever you want to call it this week?
Make sure you write down a double bogey too, Tim. Don't put down a par for that hole, please.
I get a par for this hole, though. That's what's good about being on here.
I think Thayer's done a good job. I think they all have this season, but I know coming off of that game, there's certainly things that they wanted to work on and be cleaner at, and give the running game cleaner alleys to the safety. I thought the protection was solid. And has to continue to be, but they're a talented group, and if we're going to make a run at this thing into November, we got to be able to run the football. That's just the bottom line, and that's a big part of it. And having that balance is critical. And they're a very conscientious group, and they got a lot of pride, and and we have some depth in there too. We have some guys we can move around, which is great.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
All righty, we'll go next to Joey Kaufman from the Columbus Dispatch.
Ryan, obviously we all got to see Tron Cage's scoop and score on Saturday, but how would you assess kind of his impact week in and week out throughout the season for you guys in the interior?
Well, I think Jerron is he's a veteran player. He's somebody who has a mature approach, and I think his teammates respect him when he says something, which he doesn't always say a lot, although he said more recently. I think he's gained more and more leadership skills in the last probably month. But this is somebody who's been through a lot. It didn't all come at once for Jerron, but he's worked through tough times. He's become stronger for working through some of that adversity. And he's somebody that we go to and look to when times get tough, because he's been through that type of, training here, and he's gonna, a lot of great football ahead of him. So very, very impressed with the way he's been. And, he's going to be important. We need veteran guys to be veteran in November because we do have such a young team. But very impressed with the way he's gone about his business, and great to see him make a play like that in a big game.
Alrighty, next up, Dan Hope from 11 Warriors.
Hey, Ryan, I'm curious. You guys have mixed in Matt Jones at guard a lot. Have you considered rotating him in at center at all, or do you guys feel like you just want to stick with Luke there?
Yeah, we have, in practice, and we have in preseason and spring. So we've moved some guys around, and Matt does have flexibility. And we've considered everything. We've looked at everything, and if that gives us the best chance, then we'll do that. But we also want to make sure that guys, try to stay at one position to get their feet underneath them and get comfortable at that one position. But sometimes you got to move people around, and Matt gives us some flexibility. And so if that's what makes sense, we'll do it.
Alrighty, we'll go next to Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Sorry. Tim kind of asked a little bit what I was going to ask about the offensive line. I know Penn State's obviously a good team, and how surprised were you that the line struggled as much as it did? And what specific ways have you seen this week them respond?
I think they've just taken ownership, of some of the plays, and had a much better look in their eye in terms of wanting to make sure that they're right and execute at a high level. I don't think I point my finger at one thing in particular, but just, obviously the penalties got us out of whack for sure. And then we just weren't clean on some of the run fits. We did do some things really well, so that was good, but overall just need to be more consistent.
All right, and we'll wrap it up with Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Ryan, when you guys brought Pollier in, was there a certain thing that you saw from him that you thought he could add to the linebacker room? And now that he's kind of starting to settle in, you saw him on the field on a critical third down earlier in the game against Penn State. Are you starting to see those things that you guys brought him in for? Are you starting to see him settle in and really take control of what he's supposed to be doing?
I don't know if we're there yet. I think this is a big couple of weeks for EA. I think that he certainly had the preseason and then kind of got thrown into it when we heard that he was going to be eligible, which was great. And then that kind of got real for him, and he started getting more and more experience. And then he had the injury that held him out for a little while, and now he's kind of back into that. So this is a big stretch for him, and in terms of practice and hopefully getting in the game. But I think he gives us some physical presence out there. He's strong, he's powerful, he can run to the ball. And I think he has all the physical skills to be a really good linebacker, and so now it's just a matter of getting out on the field and fitting into the scheme that we have on defense.